Back, a naturopath from New Zealand. Thank you for coming back. Let's talk about diarrhea and the frequent causes. My experiences regarding, loose bowel motions with patients. I would easily say the most frequent cause of diarrhea would be infectious diarrhea. And worldwide, it kills a lot of people, unfortunately. People that live in areas with poor sanitation, poor hygiene, poor diets. It's very, very sad what's happening in countries like Sudan and Northern Africa. It's tragic. My heart goes out for those people. It's sad, especially malnutrition, because when you combine that with infectious, diarrhea, you get kids passing away at a phenomenal rate. But in the Western world, parasites, bacteria, and yeasts are some of the biggest causes of diarrhea. We've finally learned through COVID-19 that we've actually got to stick these under the tap sometimes, wash the hands. So one big, great thing that's come out of this virus is people are becoming a little bit more aware of sanitation and hygiene, washing their hands. Something I've done for years. If I go to airports, always wash hands. Wash hands 3-4 times going through those checkpoints because you're touching everything. You've been through gates and desks where thousands and thousands of people have been the last few weeks. You've got no idea where those people have been or what they've touched or nothing about them. So it pays to do this, if you know what I mean. If you can still buy sanitizer these days, it's probably worth more than gold. But those are one of the key reasons why people get it, is infectious things. They get overgrowths, they get problems like that. And other ones are medications, a very frequent reason. Antibiotics, for example, are one of the prime drugs that cause diarrhea in people. Yet doctors still overprescribe antibiotics all the time for people. Chemotherapy drugs. There are many different medications that can stimulate the bowel adversely. Another thing that I've seen with people, of course, will be lactose intolerance. That's another key reason why people get loose bowels. They don't have the enzyme to break lactose down. So if they lack that enzyme, then they're going to get a loose bowel motion. So if you notice that when you don't drink milk or have any dairy, that the motions are firmer, you may well have lactose intolerance. Of course, there are lots of other reasons why, but those are some of the prime reasons why. So if you do get a fever over, say, 102, which is 39 centigrade, and you've got loose bowels, you probably want to go to the doctor and get checked out properly, especially if there's any blood or mucus or tarry stools, or if you get strong abdominal pain with diarrhea. If you've had bad diarrhea for 2 or 3 days, you should go straight to the doctor anyway and get checked for a stool test. It could be rotavirus, or there could be something basically going on there. It could be a food poisoning spin-off, so always get checked out. What do you do when you've got diarrhea? Well, the key thing to do is hydration, is to drink plenty of water, because it's coming out one end, it might as well go in the other. Otherwise, you're going to feel pretty dehydrated and sick. So dehydration is very, very big problem with diarrhea. What I generally say to patients is back off food for a few days, take some probiotics, and just calm down and relax. Don't eat too much food because it will pass. The best thing you can do with serious diarrhea is to really get out of the sun, drink a lot of water, just lie down, take it nice and easy, maybe watch Netflix or something, or whatever you guys do. But a lot of food in here is not a great idea with diarrhea, because you're just going to mess things up even further. But probiotics are often quite a good choice to take. And you stop taking the probiotic, of course, when the stool's firmed right up. Usually I get people on probiotics for 3 to 6 months if they've had seriously bad diarrhea for a while. If the diarrhea doesn't go away, and especially if there's cramping and bloating and stuff going on, get a stool test done to see what it is, because it could well be a parasite. I've had some patients who've had diarrhea for 10 to 15 years until we discovered that it was a parasite. I had a guy from New York, I'll never forget this case, who had Giardia. Now, this poor guy was having night sweats, he was having nightmares, he was losing weight, fatigue, chronic diarrhea for years. No doctor in New York tested this guy for Giardia. They did stool tests, but they didn't look for Giardia. And that's why I like to cast a wide net when I do a stool test. And as you guys know, I work with Doctor's Data. This is my favorite lab in Chicago. But your doctor, naturopathic doctor or alternative medicine doctor, can do this. Please don't ask me for names or things like this for these doctors, because I don't really network up with a lot of people in the States or overseas. But you need to make some inquiries and find out yourself. But get to the bottom of the diarrhea, find the cause, try and eliminate it, and that will usually fix the problem. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the question.